Hey guys, Chris here from Carolot Farm. I'm so excited to be back out in the garden. It has been really wet. We have had inches of rain over the last several days, which we needed incredibly badly. It had been so hot and so dry for so long that we are just so grateful. But now that we have had this rain, I want to show you our youngest plants. Most of these went in less than a week ago, right before the rain started. So let me show you how they're doing. And while I'm out here, I might have to just show you everything else because I'm pretty ecstatic with the state of the garden these days. We have some weeds that'll have to be tended to before too long, but let's get back to these young plants that just went in. The first thing I'll show you here are 18 transplanted tomatoes. These were transplanted out of the garden earlier in the spring, and I have a feeling the vast majority will be cherry tomatoes. But time will tell. Who really knows right now? Several of these little transplants are already getting nice little blooms on them, and so before long we will have tomatoes. Again, we'll have to see what they are. We have found over the years that cherry tomatoes seem to be the plant that just keeps giving. No matter how many times the garden is tilled, they just have this will to live. It's quite impressive. So again, most of these are likely cherries. What do you do with 18 cherry tomato plants? I have no idea. We're gonna have to get really creative. But I just couldn't not try to transplant them and save them. And then up on the porch, I have another, I think 14 or more tomatoes. So again, those will probably have to find homes elsewhere because again, I'm already racking my brain as to what to do with these. I was talking to my daughter the other day about, how could we press them? Because cherry tomatoes have a really distinct, delicious flavor to them, but they're more skin than pulp or juice, right? And so we were talking about maybe you can like wrap them in cheesecloth and press them in like a juice presser. I don't know. We'll have to see what we do. But again, tons of likely cherries that are flourishing here in the garden. My next row of 9 tomatoes are Rutger tomatoes. We did start these by seed, and these will be excellent sandwich style tomatoes. They're not going to be your giant beefsteaks, but they will still be a sizable tomato, and they too are looking quite good. Are you keeping count? That means we have 9, 18, 27 tomato plants already in the garden. 2/3 of them are likely cherries. I keep saying that, but what do you do with so many cherries? Maybe we'll be surprised though, who knows? So the tomatoes look fantastic, and I think waiting for these slightly cooler temperatures was a really smart move for them. Just beyond my tomatoes sit my eggplants, and we have 7 eggplants. These are the Black Beauty variety, so they will have large, fleshy eggplants. And they too are just so happy, and they've grown so much already. I then have 12 pepper plants that were planted at the same time as the tomatoes and the eggplant. My peppers are nice variety. It looks like I have 5 serranos, I have 1 jalapeno, I have 5 bell peppers. Most of them are green, 1 or 2 might be red. And then right here at the end, I'll have to double check the exact name of it, but I think it is a Santa Fe Grande pepper. It's going to be a multicolored, smaller pepper, and I'm hoping that they'll be just perfect for pickling. Here's one of my kitty cats. He's always in the garden with me. I did want to show you a close-up though. This is the Santa Fe Grande, and it already has 1 sizable pepper on it. It has a few more forming over here on the right-hand side, and then it has several more blooms. And so I have a feeling, similar to our banana pepper last year, this is likely to be a very prolific producing pepper plant. Behind me here, I have 3, I'm calling them sister plants or sister crops. The far 2 each have a tomato plant, which I can identify, and then some other plant. And this one here has an eggplant and some other plant. There's a chance that these mystery plants are either cucumbers or a squash / zucchini. I'm not really sure yet. I have a hard time identifying those young leaves. To me, they still look pretty similar. Time will tell, just like the tomatoes. I have a sneaking suspicion they might be cucumbers, which is why I've actually planted them over here. They will be surrounded by the cucumbers, which will be growing on this fence line right here. And just behind me, I'll show you in a moment, are my squash and zucchini. So it just felt like the right place to put these surprise sister plants. And again, I can't wait to see what they are. In the garden currently, I have 9 to 10 zucchini plants and 9 to 10 squash plants. They're doing well, they're growing quickly, they're even flowering, but I have a garden pest that is already after them. It's really wreaking havoc and devouring the leaves, and it's not your usual squash bug. So let me turn my camera around and show you, because this is a pest that I don't usually have to worry about this early in the season. These are the zucchini plants, and they seem to be taking the hardest brunt of the nibbling from this new pest. You may have seen one, it kind of scurried away. They are the striped yellow and black cucumber beetles. I have never had them do this to my squash and zucchini before, so I am going to have to find a way to deter them, because they really are doing a number on these leaves. Just look at that. Here is a closer look at those striped black and yellow cucumber beetles. They are known for nibbling on melons, cucumbers, squash, and zucchini. So I'm not surprised, but I've never experienced this sort of damage on these particular plants in years past. And we have some little squash forming. Now sometimes these early slow growers do rot, but there is good hope for squash and zucchini in the near future. My cucumbers have been planted right here in a bit of an L shape. They are around those sister plants I showed you earlier. And the cucumbers, we had a little washout there. The cucumbers have not started to emerge through the soil just yet. It might take them another week or more, but they did get into the ground right before the rain, and so this should be really good germinating weather for them. My okra seeds here were planted the same day as my cucumbers, and so they too have benefited, I'm sure, from all of this moisture and slightly cooler and yet still plenty warm temperatures. So before long, we should have 2 fairly dense rows of okra. I might have to thin them. If for some reason they come up sparse, maybe the seeds did rot. I don't think they did, but should they have, I can always reseed them or overseed them. It's early enough in the season. But we'll keep our eyes open, because hopefully soon we'll start to see some little seedlings popping up through the soil. My sugar snaps are so happy. We've been harvesting a few each day. They're still full of blooms, and you can see there's some very large pods that need to be picked. So again, just another super happy crop here in the spring garden. We are still harvesting lettuce regularly, probably every day, every other day. We're still sharing and giving some away. As you can see, close to half of the bed is empty, so we're 50% of the way through our lettuce for the season. Beside the lettuce, though, I'll show you, we have can you tell what they are? These are the shallots and the row of leeks here on the edge. They're thriving, they're much larger, the green stems are much more robust, and you can see the very beginning of some of those pinkish purple heads of the shallots down below. So again, everything on this half of the garden is looking really good, but I still have another half of the garden I want to show you real quick. In my silver planter here, we have our very own cabbage plants. We started these from seed indoors, I believe it was around March 7th. That was the same time that we started our bok choy that we have already harvested. Our collards were started the same day, as I believe were the lettuce plants. So a lot of those early spring crops have already matured. These plants are taking a little longer, but with these cooler, damp days, they're really taking off. I'm going to have to lift this netting a bit higher because the plants themselves are already touching it. So that's a good thing. We're seeing some good growth here. So now let's move on. We have what is that back there? That is my kale. I did harvest a little bit of kale before the rain. It looks great. It's grown in leaps and bounds in the last 4 to 5 days. Again, that was the bok choy. We've picked it all. The collards are growing rapidly again. These crops love the cooler temperatures. Our potatoes look fantastic. Now, if we wanted little teeny seed potatoes or baby potatoes, we could pull them up as early as, June. It is almost June, but we're going to let these continue to go. We'll harvest them later in the summer after the plants turn brown and all of that extra nutrients has been taken back down into the potato itself. So they will keep growing, but they do look very happy. This is the crop I want to get up close and personal though with because it looks so, so good. I have to show you. I just have been wanting to show you the broccoli all morning long. These broccoli crowns are so happy. You can see though they might have a touch of yellowing, so we do want to pick them, if not today, tomorrow before they start to flower. They will keep in the fridge for quite some time, and truth be told, we'll eat them pretty quick because we really do enjoy broccoli. But here's a head. We picked this one late last week, and we left that one single smaller crown, but even then down below, you can see there are tons of little teeny florets. So we'll be harvesting those before long, and if you know us very well, you will know that we too will harvest these greens before the plants are pulled up. On the end of my broccoli row is one, if not two, plants that we did start from seed. The plants look fantastic. They're getting to be large and robust. They have nice big leaves. We just don't have any heads of broccoli on them yet. So if they don't yield a head of broccoli, at least we'll eat those leaves like we will from the others. But I'm just not really sure why we're struggling to get heads of broccoli. We had a hard time with cauliflower last year, and even our cabbage didn't do fantastic. I'm gonna say this year's cabbage back behind me is looking a little better. So again, we have a lot to figure out when it comes to starting plants from seed. Some things do really well and absolutely thrive, like the bok choy, and some things still need a little work. I want to give you one more look at our potatoes. We have, it looks like 28 to 30 plants. I think it's 28. I think I have 14 in one row and 14 in another. But these plants are looking really good, a very healthy green. They're robust. Before long, they might start to flower. And if you see your potatoes flowering and then you see those little potato balls on them, pull those off and discard them. They can actually be toxic to animals. When these start to produce those, I'll show you what they look like, but just be on the lookout for those. But again, these guys look great, and now their job is just to grow, grow, grow. Another crop that needs to do the exact same thing are the sweet potatoes. These are some of the longest growing crops that we have in the garden. I think I just counted 42 sweet potato plants, somewhere around there. And I am thinking this year, rather than letting the vines just kind of like run amok, I'm gonna put a trellis line down the middle here and see if I can't get the vines to grow upward as opposed to outward. We'll see. I don't know if I'll get that done, but that is a thought I've been having and might be something new to try this year. I want to show you these collared leaves. They have really grown so fast over the last few slightly cooler, damp days. I should get out here and harvest them. Some of these are just as large, if not larger, than what I harvested last week. And like the collard plants, the weeds are also growing in leaps and bounds around here. The last crop I think I have to show you, these are the cabbage plants that did come from the co-op, like the broccoli. They're a quick growing, smaller cabbage, and they are already forming very nice heads. It shouldn't be long before it's time to harvest these. At this point in time, as we approach the end of May, our garden here is almost completely full, which is a really wonderful thing. A few weeks ago, I just wasn't sure if we were going to make it in time, and we have. I think the last couple of things that I will likely want to plant in this area, along with this little teeny, I'm going to call it a bed that sits between the silver planter and the sugar snaps, will be a couple of things. Green beans for sure. We want to do some winter butternut squash later in the summer. And then we'll have to wait and see what else comes our way. Sometimes we're gifted plants by other friends. Maybe this will be a good place for those. And maybe we'll have some other crops that we think of. But for sure, two more crops, green beans and butternut. Stay tuned though, and I can't wait to let you know when we get those in. I'm so happy that I was able to show you our late May garden. Everything did seem to get off to a bit of a late start, but as you can see now, the garden is looking robust and full, and it's just such a pleasure to come out here and work each and every day. Thank you so much for joining me today here in the garden. Those young plants all look fantastic, and the more mature plants in the garden are thriving just as well. It's been a great spring so far, and I'm really excited about the next stretch ahead. Next on my to-do list will be putting cardboard down. As you can see, we have tons of paths that do not have cardboard for weed barriers, and then I do need to start weeding in and around the crops because this warm rain that we've had, it's not been hot, it's not been cold, has not only been perfect for the plants, the crops, but for the weeds. So they will also start to pop and just take off like wildfire. Check back soon though, we'll have lots of updates. Happy gardening, and we hope to see you in the future. Bye guys.